Hello, everyone. I'm Zahid, founder of Innovation Valley, and you know that we bring you very amazing episodes from the podcast of Innovation Valley, which is named as Talks at Innovation Valley. And today we have very special guest with us, Elisa Torres, who is the founder of Girls in Quantum. And you will not believe, but trust me, she is just 17 years old and she's running an international organization named Girls in Quantum. So, first of all, Elisa, we really warm welcome you to the show.
No, thanks, Saeed. I'm so happy for being here. So I look forward to talking with you. And yes, thank you for inviting me.
So, Elisa, first of all, before we jump to the topic and questions, I would love you to know our audience about your education, about your schooling, from where you got your schooling and education, how you got to this industry. I mean, the quantum computing and all this stuff.
Yeah, that's a good question. So I started, well, I am a high school student, as you mentioned. So I'm still learning about many things in terms of physics and, well, quantum, right? But I think that what led me to like get into quantum was, well, I was in the pandemics and I started learning more about different online courses. And yeah, I found this sort of program. It was called Introduction to Quantum Computing from IBM and the coding school. And I was able to take that program, and yeah, it opened like many doors for me to start understanding about quantum mechanics, quantum physics, and also like this world that it's still unexplored, or has a lot to be explored in terms of quantum computing. So yeah, I look forward to like still learning more about that in the future. And right now, I also look forward to involving more girls and students in the field.
Right. So, Elisa, can you please define a little bit about what actually quantum computing is and where in the industry does it apply?
Yeah. So well, it'll of course depend on who are you asking the questions, but in terms of my side, I could like, of course, I could describe it as easier as, okay, quantum computing. It is this sort of emerging technology right now that could be potentially used to solve problems that your laptop, your phone, classical computers cannot solve, right? So and quantum computers could solve these problems in sort of an efficient and much faster way than classical computers. So that's kind of right now how could I express it. Of course, if I can go with more technical aspects, it works with quantum computing, quantum mechanics, with these physics properties. And I'm honestly really looking forward to like learning more about this field.
All right. And Elisa, you know, but first, let me again repeat the topic of today's podcast, which is, that quantum computing ecosystems. And we will cover, that Industry 4.0 and future of manufacturing, etc. So when we talk about quantum computing, Elisa, tell me, in today's era, what uh, relationship quantum computing has with the Industry 4.0 and the manufacturing?
Yeah, I think that definitely it has a lot of potential right now. Of course, there's a lot of quantum hype, right? So there's like, some people say like, hey, you're paying like too much attention into quantum, and you're saying like a lot of things. Perhaps they say this like in general, of course, of people are paying much more attention on how could this be, but in like in the reality, it will take a lot of time or a lot of years. Some people says so. It of course may depend as well. I have to repeat it because some people may be saying this or watching this and may be thinking about this. So, in terms of if you ask me about, for example, how could that be related to manufacturing, there's also like really good aspects in terms of, for example, how quantum computing could be related with machine learning and also robotics and artificial intelligence, right? So, how could that be helpful for humans to accelerate process that are right now time consuming, right? So right now, quantum computers are being utilized in different industries, whether it's the the industry, for example, in the aerospace industry, also the government. But in terms of manufacturing, also, for example, well, manufacturing energy and sustainability, right now Mercedes-Benz is working with along with IBM in quantum implementing quantum computing to like start creating this sort of start analyzing more about electric vehicles that could potentially be in the market in a more sort of efficient way to have this sort of electrical technology to have to give them power, right? So how that is like where quantum computers could be key in the development of new solutions or new sort of areas to improve for quantum or for electrical vehicles to be more efficient.
All right. And, you know, can you please tell Elisa what were those challenges that were unable to fix or resolve in when there was no quantum computers? And what are the challenges that actually quantum computing can solve right now and would be solving in the future?
Yeah, of course. So I think that that's also related to the previous sort of answer. It's in the question as well. So it's definitely working on different areas across different disciplines as well. Right now, for example, the United States is working with it also in terms of the government security and cryptography with DARPA to be more specific. And this kind of ways is like right now they're working on having this sort of secure system to sort of share information, right? So let's say that we have Alice and Bob, like this sort of example from quantum cryptography. So if we have Alice and Bob, and Alice wants to send a message to Bob in a secure way, there could be eaves, right? So an eavesdropper that it's hearing their conversation. So that may happen in a classical sort of aspect, but in a quantum for the quantum world, it's like Alice is going to send a message to Bob, but this is going to be secure. So Alice will have like sort of this code, and through that code they will send to Bob, and Bob will receive another code that it's completely different, right? So it's that could be an example, for example, yeah, to illustrate what is happening right now. But it could be mainly used to secure messages, to secure, for example, your bank account passwords and things that could be really important in terms of the governments to secure their information. And that's a way that could be utilized, and that it's working right now. Scientists and people in the industry are working on that right now, and it could be implemented in so many areas. Honestly, there's no limits, whether it's in finance, whether it's in pharmaceutics. There are actually many possibilities. It's just that there still need to be some, of course there are some challenges, for example quantum error correction, and the sort of the cost of making sort of building these quantum computers. Yeah, there's some challenges going on right now.
All right. And Elisa, how do you see the future of manufacturing and future of industry in the presence of quantum computing? What are the major benefits that humanity will be, taking benefit of?
I think that's it's definitely more about how scientists are sort of approaching this different problems that we're having now. So I see that, of course, right now one of our main challenges is sustainability, right? So more than sustainability, how can we make some cities more sustainable? So and how can we go, I don't know, carbon neutral, right? So it's more about, I see the future in terms of that on quantum computers helping industries or helping companies to be more environmentally friendly. And I think that that's definitely a good sort of initiative, right? So seeing how, well, there's a clear example right now. So it's ExxonMobil, mobile, and they're kind of using quantum computing in order to detect some patterns and also be able to like reduce their contamination or pollution to the environment. And I think that that's definitely a good approach and interesting as well. Like I don't know, to people get to know those sort of cases that it could also be applied in terms making the earth a little bit more, I don't know, making companies be more environmentally friendly.
Right. Elisa, when we talk on quantum computing ecosystems,
Yeah.
can you please tell me what are the major vital organs and ingredients of this overall quantum computing ecosystem? And when we talk on the development of the quantum computing ecosystems, what are the challenges right now that the world is facing due to any ABC reason, maybe due to government or whatever? So, what are the challenges that, as a whole, we are facing in developing the quantum computing ecosystems?
Yeah, of course. So, well, right now, I think that in terms of getting into the question of quantum ecosystems, honestly, it's more about that they're creating right now. For example, Girls in Quantum, right? So, Girls in Quantum is creating this sort of ecosystem for girls and students, K-12 students, that could be interested in science, perhaps not, but are definitely like, I don't know, saying yes to learning more about quantum computing, right? So in terms of that, it's definitely about creating these sort of opportunities for students and sort of classmates to interact with each other, share ideas, share in discussions, in tables, or also get to know experts in the field. For example, I don't know, founders of our organization, scientists that are working in the area and they're developing different research projects. So it's definitely about that, like this sort of quantum ecosystems. But of course, they're not just in K-12 for K-12 students, but more for people in the industry that are already in the industry or more in the technological side, but doesn't like get along into or are new into the quantum field. So that's definitely for me key, especially for to bring the attention of people, right? So there's like this community is going on right now on quantum computing that could, I don't know, let people know what is happening right now in the world about quantum. How is this being implemented in different sort of governments, plans, I don't know, for in the long run, how India is right now implementing it or plans to implementing it in the country with more funding in the area. So there's definitely like that my approach to the quantum ecosystem that I consider so valuable. And in terms of the challenges, I will like get the same approach as I mentioned before with the quantum ecosystems. So right now we're like having these sort of quantum ecosystems bringing like what's happening in the quantum world, right? But at the same time, that's so important because one of the main challenges right now is sort of the talent that is in it, right? So scientists are right now developing these sort of quantum computers, and yeah, like the qubits, and they're working on that. But afterwards, who will continue with their project, right? Or who will continue with their work? So that's why it's needed to like educate more students and people like here's quantum computing, here's what's happening right now, here's how could you be involved.
Right, Elisa. Elisa, how can Industry 4.0 technologies be integrated with quantum computing?
I think that it's definitely I'm not an expert on Industry 4.0, but I would say that there's definitely this sort of intersection between that lays between both. So manufacturing and quantum computing, as I mentioned before, quantum computing it's an interdisciplinary field. I am not expert to be talking about like much more. But definitely there's like their approaches right there is collaborating between like for example companies on how can the manufacturing industry could make things easier or in a much more, I don't know, efficient way, right? So how can they accelerate processes or how can they bring like the clients afterwards sort of a, I don't know, a more personalized experience. So I was reading some time ago about how quantum computing could be involved in marketing, right? So I was like, this could be really true. Like quantum computing and marketing, does this relate? But actually, it does. So I read that it could be potentially focused on targeting the clients and see how thing could work in a more personalized way. For example, in getting like this sort of specific ads to people, but in a much complex way that right now could be like, hey, time consuming, or it would take a lot of time because of focusing like each people, like each different personalized ad, and also it could cost a lot of money, right? So those are the different ways that could be sort of potential ways of collaborations for both manufacturing industry and quantum computing.
All right. Elisa, why school, college, and university students uh, must learn the quantum computing, and how we can, that we, the innovators, and from the edtech industry, how we can convince the educators and students to learn quantum computing, and why?
Yeah, of course. So definitely there's like well, as you mentioned before, like the challenges, right? So I mentioned about sort of one of the challenges right now, it's like getting to know like, hey, more people to continue with the work of scientists. Um so that's definitely like a key thing for students to know, like, hey, there's people needed, right? So you're totally welcome if you want to be involved and collaborate and continue with the work of the scientists to get to know what quantum is, and also because it's going to be, or at least in my opinion, it could be like what is Python right now. So Python could be utilized right now not just for programmers or computer scientists, but more about like sort of in any sort of job or work, coding could be required. So I don't know, 10 years ago it was like, oh, coding would be so necessary for the future, and that's right. So right now we're using it in different sort of aspects of our lives, and that could happen with quantum computing. I think that it would be more than something superficial. It would be more than something more that it's used, that it's like being talked in the table and discussed for different measures. And well, if we're seeing this sort of in different governments, of course, I don't want to encourage the quantum hype going on right now. But if it's stuck in different sort of areas, we need to start like getting more aware of what's happening now and what could be the possible steps on quantum computing in the future.
Right. Elisa, how will quantum computing impact the supply chain and logistics aspects of manufacturing?
Mm, I'm not sure how to answer that question honestly, because well, as I mentioned before, I'm not an expert in manufacturing. But I think that it'll definitely impact on how things work, right? So on the efficiency on things. So how could for example, how could quantum computers could avoid these sort of different problems going on in terms of, hey, there, I don't know. This is going to be a simple example here about losing some packages, right? So if perhaps we're losing some packages, how is there's a way of like getting more efficient with that, or having less sort of errors in the orders when sharing or delivering packages, or when the ships come to the coast and get like all the packages through a certain city, how could that be distributed in a certain way that there's not an overload of packages in so that in the area, right? So I think that that's more the approach that quantum computers could work.
Right. So right now, I will not throw any question, but Elisa, I'm asking you, give a free short speech on this topic, quantum computing ecosystems. Say whatever you want to say on this topic,
Yeah,
whatever inspires you. Okay.
yeah, that's great. So, well, in terms of that, I think that it's mainly like focusing on this quantum ecosystems. It's good and should be more encouraged as well among different sort of people and ages. So it's not just about adults, but also it could be about encouraging more students to join this sort of quantum workforce in the future. So right now there are different sort of initiatives going on. There's the coding school. There are also different sort of communities like Womenium, that are not just only focused on women, but they're also women that also sort of initiatives focused on everyone. Like, hey, you're interested? Let's join. One Quantum is one sort of also organization. There's Q World. Honestly, there's a lot of different initiatives that I love and that I'll totally encourage you to like perhaps take part of, and join and see how everything works and get inspired by people. Honestly, in Girls in Quantum, what we do is like getting to know, like, hey, there's like all these girls right there, all these students that wants to learn, like a great project. It's like more about getting the perspective of different people and showing how to co-design, right? How to get to different sort of ways to approach educating about quantum computing in different sort of schools, whether it's like elementary school or high school. Those different areas and approaches are really helpful for today's sort of mindset, and also today's advancement on different areas on quantum computing.
Right. So, Elisa, can you please share some of the strategies and tips how the educators can bring some of the programs on and stuff on the quantum computing? Give some use cases and examples.
Yeah, so of course, so right now it's like I mentioned about, okay, we need like people to be educated, right, to start learning about quantum computing, but it's also helpful, or it's also needed to have teachers, right? So teachers that can mentor students, like, okay, this is happening right now, how can students be educated if they don't have the right teachers, right? So there's like a good thing to focus on right now. Like, okay, if we want to teach students, we need to first train teachers to help provide this great education to students. So there are different initiatives going on right now, or more than initiatives, certifications as well. So there's, for example, Qiskit. You can have be a Qiskit advocate, where you're able to like certificate on different sort of knowledge related with quantum mechanics and quantum computing, and that will help you later understand and teach what is quantum. So it's really fun because it lets you to have different sort of opportunities right there. So it's not about, okay, just for students, but also for educators to start like seeing another way of teaching technology. And yeah, it can lead to many sort of benefits for both students and teachers to that just get immersed in this world of quantum and yeah, learn.
All right. So when we, that every student wants to learn something new, but the problem with the education system is it's not creative enough. In fact, it's kind of factory education model. So I would love to know, and my audience would love to know, Elisa, how did you learn the quantum computing? What you were doing in the school and college? Can you please share your journey of learning?
Yeah, of course. So, as I mentioned in the beginning, I was able to join thanks to this sort of IBM and coding school program that I took. It was completely online, and well, it gave me like this sort of basic knowledge on quantum mechanics, quantum computing. Of course, there's a lot I need to learn, but that gave me this sort of insight on how this technology could work in a superficial area. And I was like really happy to start learning about that. I think that it was more really different. It's not like you heard quantum like just in your everyday life, but it's more like, hey, this is quantum. And when I talk to, I don't know, to my classmates, and we try to, I don't know, discuss on different approaches on quantum computing in different industries as well, we're like, some of my classmates also join like the conversation and ask me like, hey Elisa, what's quantum? So it's definitely about spreading the word out on how everything works, and how can we share this education with other students. I personally started learning by this course, but I continue learning by myself and different other courses, and I totally encourage any other people that are watching us right now that they can go to our Instagram, LinkedIn, or different social media to just like learn about quantum, honestly.
All right. And as a quantum girl, what is your vision and mission? What ultimately you want to achieve and how you will achieve that?
Yeah, of course. So I think that, well, right now our mission and my mission as well, like personal and for the organization, is democratizing the access of quantum computing education. So we want to be able to just not give like these sort of opportunities, or more than that, just like, hey, quantum, it's really nice, or quantum is quantum computing is so good, but more than that, it's providing like the opportunities, right? So it's sharing about the events that we're hosting monthly, the monthly events that we're hosting, also like the material that we share. Sometimes we have materials from, for example, Perimeter Institute that we share with our students, and also from Institute Quantique and different organizations that help us distribute this content. So I totally encourage people to just like look at those sort of documents to start learning or getting like a glimpse of what quantum could be. But yeah, I think that sometimes at the beginning it could be really overwhelming to just like, hey, quantum computing, if you just start reading a book that it's more advanced, you're going to get like, oh no, this is such a complex sort of area. But if you start like step by step, it could be definitely a little bit better. Of course, not going to be easier, but also better. And I promise you that it could be also really fun to start discussing with your peers as well.
Right. Elisa, when we talk about quantum computing ecosystems, what are some of the books? What are some of the websites? What are some of the personalities and people that you idolize and that you would like to recommend to the other people?
Yeah, so for sure. So there are different books, honestly. I was so one. It was from I believe Brian Greene. There's like the Quantum Elegance. It's such a great book for beginners. Could be that I've heard from some people that recommended me that book. There's also other books, like there's one from that it says about quantum biology. So I'm personally really interested in science and biology. So having that approach into quantum computing is honestly mind blowing for me. Um, and also girls in quantum. In girls in quantum, you can look at like it's double three triple w.girlsinquantum.com, and you can go there and just watch like or post or videos. You can go to our sort of Instagram or YouTube, which is Girls in Quantum, in the three of them. And you can watch our videos, watch our seminars, as like hear from experts and leaders in the area to just like tell them their experience, share their thoughts and their advice on the world this area, sir. And I think that this sort of ways you can like get a also like this sort of glimpse of what quantum is, what quantum computing is, and also see like the different sort of outcomes or sort of connections between different areas that could have.
Elisa, in the last, I would love you to give an inspiring message to the students, any message that could inspire them for their life and for their future and for their career.
Yeah, of course. So I think that what it's key for me, it's like just being able to try and try, try again. And if like the idea is like getting involved in sort of a, for example, for me, it wasn't planned to get involved into quantum computing. So it was like more about trying different opportunities. It was online classes, it was online courses, and different sort of opportunities online. And I think that right now, as teenagers, we have this opportunity of having this sort of digital world, right? So I always try to spread this message. It's like if we live in this technological world, in this technological era, we need to start enjoying and having like, yeah, enjoying the access of it, right? So if you're having the possibility of taking an online course, there are actually so many free online courses right now going on into terms of quantum mechanics or quantum computing. Enjoy that. So try that opportunity, learn by yourself, start connecting with other people, and yeah, I think that trying is the first step on opening so many doors for you to start like getting to know a new world that you may like I don't know, whether it's science, technology, or other area, but also getting adventurous and also getting to know many people that could be also inspiring for you in the field.
Right. And Elisa, can you please tell me a little bit about your organization, Girls in Quantum? Is that doing what work actually you are doing, how you are doing, and is that free or paid?
Yeah, well, I think that as I mentioned to the like other questions, it's like we're mainly trying to democratize this quantum computing education. So it's this a non-profit that we want to it's free, so that we want to share educational resources with students. We host events, and we're right now organizing a really fun course about quantum computing, and we're excited to launch that as soon as possible. We're also getting to work with some perimeter institute scientists in University of Waterloo, sort of students that are helping us with our research program, and we're kind of doing and sharing those opportunities to students and honestly everyone who might be interested, to first close the gender gap that are of female in the field, because as you may know, there's like a devastating number that there's not many females involved in the field. So we want to encourage more females to be involved. We also want to have like this our access by translating our posts to English, Spanish, and sometimes Tamil. And finally, we want to like just having this sort of community where people can interact with each other and share ideas.
Since you told it is free, how you make it sustainable? I mean, who funds?
Yeah, I think that it's been definitely that's definitely a good question. I think that right now we're mainly working voluntarily with, among other ambassadors that are working with us, like creating content. Most of us are in high school or just first year of college, so it's mostly about this collaborative work that we do in order to democratize education of quantum computing to other students around the world. However, we know that it's not sustainable, as you mentioned, so we're looking for establishing this as like the legal work and the paperwork that we'll have to do, so that'll require a lot of time, and we're going to like look for that process to be possible made, so we can have and receive funding from other organizations. We have received the support from other organizations and companies, but it's more for the educational side than for the financial aspect. So we'll definitely look at that. That's a good question.
Thank you, Elisa Torres, for joining today's podcast. It was really nice and insightful conversation with you, and I'm sure that many students will inspire from your conversation and they will start learning quantum computing. Thank you for joining.
Thank you so much, Said. It was my pleasure.